Hello and welcome to the Quiet Light Podcast again. I'm Pat Yates, sitting in for Joe Valley. We have a fun conversation today, a little bit different. If you have a business that you're doing subscribe and save or any kind of subscription income, we have Andriy Rudnyk. And Andriy is such a great expert in this. He's with Good Subscription Agency, and they only concentrate on subscription income. Not only do they have the ability to help you with churn, onboarding, and making sure customer experiences are right, they actually have an app that you can tie into your site that's going to help you implement this. I think that my predetermined idea is that subscribe and save is pretty easy. Put your name up there, have your product. If it's successful, they're going to buy. If it's not, it's not. But there's a lot more nuances to it. And I think finding an agency that can help you be able to do these things will at least springboard you into understanding this kind of stuff. I really honestly thought it was an easy part of a business, but the more that I talked to Andriy, I realized it's really complex. I think everyone's going to get something from this conversation today, so I'm anxious to talk to him. And again, if you have any information you need from Quiet Light on your business or want to buy a business, you can go to quietlight.com, or you can always email me. Pat Yates is pat@quietlight.com. I'm excited for this conversation with Andriy, so let's get right to it. Hey, Andriy, it's great to have you in the Quiet Light Podcast today. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on, Pat.
Man, I'm really excited about this. We got a lot of people, and actually have a Shark Tank company that I'm really close to that is actually a subscription-based business. So having this conversation is really kind of exciting to me because I want to learn a lot more about how that's changed. I know the market's changed for it, but I know everyone would like to sort of understand what you do at the Good Subscription Agency. Maybe introduce yourself, where you're from, and tell us a little bit of your background.
Yeah, would love to. So as you mentioned, I run the Good Subscription Agency. We started at the very, very beginning of the pandemic. I got introduced to e-commerce. I worked in Bold Commerce before. They're a large app developer on the Shopify space. And I just saw a niche that really was for a specific, subscription-specific agency. So essentially, we only service recurring revenue clients, businesses that have a subscription or a subscribe and save or a box of the month or a meal plan on Shopify. And when I say we're an agency, we help with website design, subscription strategy overall kind of wraps it all up, but website design, development, email marketing, and subscription app optimization and development as well. So that's essentially what it is. And what makes us a little different than anybody else is that we understand the importance of customer lifetime value. And we always kind of look at that first and foremost. And that's really the KPI metric we work with our brands to move forward.
That's really great. So tell me a little bit, let's say someone comes into you. Let's just do something hypothetical. I don't know what it is. Actually, I talked to a company recently that did cat litter. Let's use that as an example. Let's say someone wants to build a business subscription around something like that. How do you analyze whether their product is actually right for that? Because some people may think they can get subscription income on anything, but it's not something that's really tailored to that, yet they want to build it. How do you analyze what clients you work with?
Yeah. So whenever we have a brand that's just super fresh to subscriptions, one easy metric to look at is your returning customer rate. Are you getting at least 30 to 40% of your repeat customers to come back within a certain time frame? So for example, if you have 40% of customers buy twice in 90 days, you're probably in a pretty good spot for a replenishment program or a subscribe and save. And yes, I'm not going to pretend like every single business can start a recurring revenue model. However, there are other things than subscribe and save that you could do, like a membership program. We've actually seen this work pretty well. For example, think about Amazon. Amazon's the greatest example of a membership program with Amazon Prime. You don't think about Amazon as a subscription business, but Amazon Prime makes up, I don't remember the exact number, but I remember something around 30% of sales is Amazon Prime revenue for their profit. Well, obviously, because all of that membership and access and free shipping is pretty profitable for them, a lot more profitable than the products they resell. So a membership program like that has been also really effective for a lot of brands because it's a one-time setup cost. So for example, you could say something like, hey, our brand is offering free shipping for all of our members, and you get a $10 in-store credit on every single month every time your membership renews. So you have this cashback element, you have this free shipping element, and that really incentivizes your diehard customers to spend more with you, which is really what you want.
It's a really good point. So I guess when I think about this, when I think about subscription income, let's say someone's doing it on Amazon. I think everybody seems like, well, my product's a success. I know what I'm doing. Why would someone reach out to have another company help them with that subscription? What's the thing they learned coming into you that maybe Maybe that this breaks down a barrier of what people think about being concerned about starting it. What are the biggest hurdles to get over to decide to work with you?
I think the biggest question is: do you want to work with somebody who's specifically an expert in this brand, in this field, specifically recurring revenue? A lot of it. A lot of agencies work and implement a subscription program every now and again. Our agency does that every single day. So, where a vanilla Shopify agency would implement maybe 3-4 subscription programs in a year, we do that many every single month. So we just have a lot more time on stick. And what that means is, when we do projects, they're generally very effective, and you can see 50% increase in customer lifetime value in the first 90 days. You can see 2x growth for your subscription program within the first 2-3 months that we work together, because we kind of already know what the tech limitations are, and we've basically made all the mistakes already.
Right.
Yeah.
I think that when I was reading and checking on the website, you had one thing that you really hammered to people right away, which is you have to have a retention strategy. Tell us a little bit about why that's important, because I found that interesting that, a lot of time people want to think about how do I get people to come in and subscribe, but the real widget is how do you keep them around? So talk about that.
Yeah. So that's a real tricky piece for some people to wrap around, because it's so counterintuitive to how e-commerce worked in the last 5-10 years. When ads were really cheap, you could drive a first customer really profitably and maybe, break even on your first sale, maybe make a little money on the first sale. Now with customer acquisition costs increasing, you really have to think about not just selling to them for the first time, but selling to them for the second order, third order, fourth order, fifth order. I keep banging on about that a subscriber is worth 3 to 5 times more than a one-time customer. Why? Because on average, that's basically what the math shakes out to be. A subscriber generally places 3 orders on average between all the brands we work with. What that means is your profit margin actually on the second, third order is so much higher. You really have to think about it that way. So you're not just trying to get somebody through the door just through the checkout screen and the thank you page. It really is about that post-purchase experience, the email onboarding, the expectations you build in the post-purchase experience, that unboxing experience, the upcoming order notification, the customer portal, and the second order coming through in the second box and the third box. So really, it requires almost a mental shift from, we only care about traffic and conversion and average order value, where we really want to take care of the post-purchase experience overall afterwards. And that generally just requires looking at different KPIs, looking at your churn rate and your onboarding and your activation period. And your activation period spent. This is actually something I'm trying to coin is APS, is the amount of money a customer spends on their first 2 orders. Because actually, when somebody might opt into your subscription program, but until they place their second order, they're not a subscriber. They are on trial. They've signed up. They might be getting they might get access to their portal. They might get an upcoming order notification. But until that second order is placed, they're not really a subscriber.
That's a great point, because I think the one thing, I had a conversation recently about subscription and being able to retain people. Isn't it more important probably what you do post-purchase first time to second purchase on the recurring that really sets in whether the customer's going to stay, or does it build over time? Do they find that confidence later? Is it about that? For instance, I don't know if you send early emails of it's about to send again and they have a chance to cancel or whatever. Mm-hmm. Tell me a little bit about how after the first purchase, someone has to really be that attentive to a customer and make sure it continues.
Mm-hmm. So great question. And the way I tend to think about it is this is really about churn management. And so as soon as, let's say somebody opted in to become a subscriber and have the second order automatically be placed, what you're really trying to do here is they have an expectation that you've created for them on their purchase flow and in their post-purchase flow. And the expectation is, hey, we're a reputable brand, we've got a great product, and you should be spending money with us. Anything that tells them differently, if you just charge their card randomly without a notification, if the second order arrives when they don't need it, if they haven't even gotten through half of the first product, and maybe it's a supplement or maybe it's something that's stacking up on their shelf, it's it's a mismanagement of that. And basically, churn really happens when expectations don't meet reality. And then you start thinking, but it's like, okay, you make promises you can't keep. So I can't really trust this brand with my credit card, especially, but also to even, how do I know that their product or their supplement or their gummies or whatever they are promoting to me is actually on point? So a subscription is an additional promise you give to them that you have to maintain, because if you mismanage that expectation, basically the customer loses hope in you, basically trust in your brand, and good luck when it comes back.
So let me ask this. You mentioned something that's kind of interesting there. Some people might get overlap. Maybe it's a product they didn't use as much. I have no idea what the product is. With supplements, maybe the person didn't take them for a month and ends up with an extra bottle. How does that really affect the long term? Because I mean, do most people that get stacked up like that change the date? Do they have the ability with you all? What happens from a customer level to mitigate that problem?
Totally. So on the customer level, what we found is subscriptions that actually, this is very easy to understand with things like subscribe and save programs and with replenishment. As good as you try to predict the customer's consumption habits, even with daily supplements, people are not robots. It's very hard to predict when they will need their second order. So it's essentially key to let them, so when it comes time to an upcoming order and they get a reminder, it's essential for them to have every single option that's better than canceling, because the initial knee-jerk reaction is, oh, I don't want this order right now. And if you can give them an easy access to their customer portal with one click in their email or through SMS, and they just click no password to remember, and then instead of seeing cancel, they're seeing, hey, change date, skip, snooze. That is what you want, because you want to educate them on every single action that's better than cancel. And what we find consistently is that customer portal actions, let's call it skip, snooze, downgrade, upgrade your plan or your amount, or change your size, your SKU, all of those are correlated with 20 to 30% higher customer lifetime value. So the easier it is to manage your subscription, the more customers are likely to stick around and personalize it for them.
That's really great. I mean, I think the thing that when I look at subscription income, I'm always worried about that. When I think about if I'm going to subscribe to something, I'm like, how do I really know how quickly I use this versus anything else? And I think being able to be flexible is incredible. You talk a lot on the site about, the customer lifetime spend and how this affects it. And do you feel like, and maybe you can go into that a little bit and talk about the effects that you end up getting this long term if you're able to get that income, but also sort of from a standpoint, if you have people that you identify that are dipping their toes, maybe they buy every 7 weeks and you're normally set up on a monthly thing. How do you identify clients that might be candidates that aren't really taking advantage of the savings too? Maybe talk a little bit about both of those two different questions.
Yeah, totally. So for example, we can talk about, or I really like this idea that not all subscribers are made equally, first and foremost. So some people are really just signing up to get a trial on your order, on your product at a discount. That's really what they want. And they're likely to cancel after the first order. If your onboarding emails are really good, so basically think about an onboarding emails from a customer level, it's those 3-4 emails you get right after you've placed a purchase. They're not transactional. They're basically educational. They're here to take care of buyer's remorse. They're here to educate you on how basically build expectation of what you're about to receive. So this is something like welcome to your community. Athletic Greens is a great example of this. They welcome you to a new movement community. Your gut health is gonna thank you. You're gonna have better energy, so on and so forth. They're building the expectations of what you'll get once you take this on a recurring basis. So recurring benefits of use. And then they'll tell you, hey, you can manage your subscription here. If you want an order sooner, if you want an order later, just click here. And they will teach you all of this in the first couple of emails. Now, this is like the onboarding process is essential for building a good habit of consumption and really outlining like the ideal subscriber experience for a customer. Same thing with the unboxing. Modwater, I don't know if you ever heard of them. They're big direct-to-consumer brand, kind of a supplement, an alternative to coffee. What I really like is their starter pack is the thing you buy first when you subscribe. So the unboxing experience becomes a big part of this. Comes with a milk frother, and as soon as you open the box, and I've yet to ask Shane, the founder, whether this came through user research or how did they figure this out. When you open the box for the first time, it doesn't tell you, hey, just make mud water, add water, and here's a latte recipe. And what they found is 70% of our subscribers enjoy mud water as a latte. So you really have to explain that ideal customer experience to the new subscriber and try to replicate that as best as you can. So here's why we include a frother. It probably costs them a couple of dollars, maybe $1 or $2 to include this frother in, but it will get them 3, 4, 10 orders over that. Same thing with printing that recipe on the unboxing page, and then everything after that, the upcoming order notifications are upselling you on creamers and other flavors, other things you might want to try and add to your upcoming order. So I'm a big fan of that, and yeah, Mudwater is a great example there too.
You're sort of just walking customers right where they want to go, and they don't realize it, and then you're in a position where they have everything they need. So
Exactly.
again, folks, we're talking with Andriy Rudnyk with Good Subscription Agency. It's kind of fascinating because, you know, I look at your company and I come in and talk to a lot of marketing agencies, and we have to pare down the 9 things they want to talk about. You only do one thing. It's really exciting because, like, I think that a lot of times people lose faith in agencies that try to be all things to all people. Let's do everything you can possibly have done, and some may do it average. What made you decide to just concentrate on this? Because I'm sure that when people talk about subscription, they have other things they'd like to talk about, but you keep it very tight. Yeah. What was the decision around that, and how did you implement it to be so successful at it?
Well, you know, I'm a big fan of diving into one particular subject and really deeply. And I would say it's like where we're really starting to scratch the surface of what it feels like to be a specialist in something. I really like this idea, like that you really like to be really good at something, you have to say no to many things. So, and I really do believe that good design, like the way we designed our service offering for our agency, is we had to say no to a lot of other projects and a lot of other clients, just to say it's like, no, we only work on recurring revenue brands. And and as a result, we just have so many more, again, time on stick. We do 4 to 6 projects every single month, where other agencies do that many in a year. And it's always the same team for us too. So, but the way I decided to work on this is, I saw through the pandemic, I saw that subscription businesses were really growing, and that industry was exploding even more than the rest of the e-commerce space. And I really had to ask myself, it's like, okay, hold on, is this a fad? Or is there something more to this? And then I think what hit me with this subscription economy, and I started reading a couple of books on it too. I really like The Membership Economy by Robbie Calvin Baxter, probably one of my all-time favorites. Same thing for your listener, The Automatic Customer by John Warlow. I don't know. This specifically talks about recurring revenue as a tool for higher business valuations. But generally, I was like, no, subscriptions are just a more natural way to deal with a brand, because at the end of the day, I want to have a relationship with a long-term brand that will have my back for a long time. Instead of trying to pick the lowest cost or trying to decide what kind of toothpaste do I want, or what toilet paper brand do I want, or what shaving razors do I want, I just want to be with one brand for a long time and know that they have my back and I can trust them with, yes, like simplifying my life. And that's really what it comes down to. So I just think it's a more natural way to do business. And also it builds the incentives for the business to be a better business long-term, because you have to have a great product. And this is something that I think agencies don't emphasize enough on. It's like you can try to market a terrible product, but unless you have a great product that people actually want to buy over and over and over, there's no lipstick on a pig. Like there's not much you can do if customers don't want to buy a second time.
That's exactly right. The product has to perform to a level people are going to want to continue to buy it. As I was going through and looking at your stuff, you know, it's really fascinating. You concentrated only on this because you even broke down to where you'll go in and help with the Shopify theme or landing pages and things like that. Talk a little bit about why that part is important, because I feel like there's some people think, well, I can just turn this on and off and I don't need a whole lot of thought to it. Mm-hmm. People are going to buy or they're not, but there clearly is a specific process to this. Tell us about that step and how it really helps your subscription income.
Mm-hmm. Well, The way I try to explain it to people is that your subscribers are categorically much more valuable than one-time purchasers. And there are many things you could be doing as a business to try to grow your revenue, to try to grow your profitability. However, we know that the most profitable customers are subscribers, and that we know that the ROI on a subscriber is generally 3 to 5x higher than a one-time purchaser. That's why we try to steer everybody to, hey, trust me, the subscription program is the best way to build compounding recurring revenue. And it sounds like buzzwords, but like your bank account will thank you later. So, and in that case, it's like, it really makes sense to try to hire an expert because I mean, one thing we have like businesses have limited resources, limited time, limited capital. So could you go and try to grow it with better ads and landing, like just spend a bunch of money on ads, spend a little bit of money on landing pages and see what happens? Or should you be really focusing on real bottom of the funnel, which is your customer churn? Why are customers who are buying from you multiple times leaving? Why are your most profitable customers leaving your brand left, right, and center while you're trying to chase new customers every single month? And that's generally how like a lot of direct-to-consumer businesses spend their basically budget things out. Here's our ad budget, here's our website budget, and we're just going to try to do that. And then nobody's really thinking about that post-purchase experience, which is actually where most profit is made.
That's really good. So again, folks, we're talking with Andriy Rudnyk with Good Subscription Agency. So one of the biggest things you see in this is everyone invests work, and the last thing you want to have is churn. You talked about it a little bit earlier, but I look at, you have a churn optimization opportunity. You help people keep that churn down. I think most people would look at it and say, well, as long as my product's good, it shouldn't drop because people are going to like it, but that really may not be the case. So tell the listeners a little bit about what can create that churn, and maybe before they come into you, how do they help avoid that to become a much better agent, a much better seller on subscription?
Great question. And again, it all comes back to getting good data and understanding why people are leaving. So first and foremost, I always say, look at your top churn reasons. So whatever tool you're currently using will likely give you some breakdown of churn causes. And people basically, this is self-reported, and you should absolutely have this as a mandatory step on your cancellation flow. And collect that data and see, okay, well, why are people leaving? What we're seeing a lot of is people are leaving because, and the most common reason for churn is I have too much product, especially if it's a replenishment brand. First of all, if it's too much product, if that's a genuine concern, that's not a reason to cancel. If you have too much product, you should be able to skip, pause, snooze, postpone, size it down, downgrade, and all of that. That's essentially one of the big things that we help with, is make that process be better. And then it's preventing that. The second piece is passive churn. So that's an easy way. So passive and active churn is two categories that we generally help with.
Right.
And on the passive churn, it's exactly that. Like, too much product, I'm moving, I just need a break. All of that should not be resulting in canceling. We should be educating them with onboarding emails and on the customer portal on every single option that's better than that. Pause, snooze, skip, and you should be offering all of those. On the passive side, when customers' credit card expires or they marked it as lost, and they just simply need to update their credit card, you have to have dunning processes and credit card recovery processes, because these could be actually your most profitable, happiest customers, but they simply forgot to update their credit card. And this is actually what we found. The passive churn causes generally 40 to 50% of your highest loyal customer churn, because they're like, if somebody's placed on orders 10 to 20, like, these people have been ordering from you for a while. The most likely reason that they're canceling is because the credit card didn't go through. So we want to facilitate that as best as we can to recover a lot of that. So that's another piece on the churn. But generally speaking, it really is about data and understanding, where does your churn come from, and what is it? And sometimes, if it's, for example, if the reason is too much product, or if it's product quality, you can find really good, valuable feedback or product feedback that you can then take and implement and improve your product as a result.
Right.
So that's essentially it.
That's great. So I know that a lot of people out there may or may not think, look, my business may be too small. I may not be able to support this at this point. What kind of levels of inventory? I'm sure there's all kinds of reservations. Maybe tell us a little bit about. I'm looking at your pricing. It seems as if you have something that's flexible for anyone. If someone is just starting their business, say they're 6 months in and they're trying to grow, do they feel like they're ready? Is there a certain time or level you need to be to work with the good subscription agency?
So there's ideally what we generally work with are we work with everybody. First of all, I love working with small businesses. We are a small team, we're a niche team, and I love talking directly to the business owner. As soon as the business becomes about we have an e-commerce manager and we have a marketing manager and we have this, it just doesn't, it's not as fun. Part of the fun of the running this agency is I get to talk to other small business owners directly and I get to know them, because it takes a certain kind of person to be a business owner, and that's just a fun crowd to be with. First, so we help anybody from just starting their Shopify store to businesses that are multi-million-dollar subscription businesses. And our sweet spot, I would say, to work with us as an agency is somewhere between $500,000 to $1 million in sales. So you can spend a little bit of money into investing for 2, 3, 4 months into a subscription program that really pays off. But even then, the return on investment is 2, 3, 4x. Again, I can't promise these things. Nobody can, but we do. Like we have processes that now work. On the other side, though, we've recently launched an app that is basically a $20 a month app that helps you self-serve a lot of the things that we do on the agency design side. The Good Subscription Upsell app, it basically is designed if you have no time, no money, or no coding skills, it's essentially designed to better upsell your subscribe and save program. So that's a really easy way to take a poke at that when it essentially. So it works with any of the existing subscription apps, and it's designed to just properly promote your subscription program.
And if you're listening on the radio, if you get a chance to look at the video on this, I'm showing the page that they have on there for the upsell app. This is really cool. So you develop something that actually helps them implement it. Sometimes that makes it even easier for an individual. And looking at the interface of what you do, it's obviously very clean, very awesome. This is great stuff. Mm-hmm. Might have to order some of this full spectrum CBD. You never know.
Yeah.
So I guess as we're going through and we're continuing to talk about subscription, I think you and I talked a little bit about a Black Friday and holiday stuff coming up just a few weeks away now. What is it that you would like to tell people that are looking at working on their subscription income? How do they prepare to make sure they maximize and hit the ground running with that?
Yeah. So what I try to remind people, especially around Black Friday, Cyber Monday, is the importance of building recurring revenue through this period. Because what we see generally is people and brands gravitate to promoting one-time purchases and like kind of stocking stuffer type things. Maybe they run with a big promotion of their main core product. But what I would recommend is promote a subscription, build a subscription promo. So for example, for this Black Friday, Cyber Monday, this weekend, save 25% on all future orders. Only available, and then as opposed to 15. So, and this is only for only runs for 5 days or 4 days. So this, or you can do a stacking discount. So save 15 on your first order and save 25 on every order after. So some apps will allow you to do that. And this is, again, you're not sacrificing profit margin on your first purchase, and then you're getting them to purchase the second, third, fourth, and fifth time. So again, and what a lot of businesses see is, what happens after Black Friday, Cyber Monday is done? Sales slump. Well, why? Well, obviously because you've exhausted your email list. You can't really drive as much revenue through email. However, if you promote them a recurring purchase, that January, February, March, all of a sudden seems a lot healthier cash flow wise. And you can actually reinvest all that money back into, listen, we need to make a better upsell flow for our subscribers and a better customer portal and a better account. And maybe we need to throw in some digital products that they can download as soon as they purchase before their first box arrives. So all of that stuff to me is really key to growing your business year over year
Right.
is how you play your Black Friday, Cyber Monday. And if you can get recurring purchases incentivized through this season, you'll have so much more dry powder to spend in Q1 of the next year to really, again, set yourself up for good growth next year.
Yeah, that's extremely interesting. You know, when I think about the recurring revenue and subscription, I think in my mind, if anyone would have asked me what period would you like to see one sign up for, I would have probably just shouted out 3 months, semi-annual or annual, one full payment. But it seems to me you're saying that probably if someone has an extra one, they may end up canceling the whole thing, and then you got a problem how to rewind a year. Is that suggested anymore? Because I used to see that as the standard. Now it's something where it looks like it's only monthly, so you don't feel like someone's really hamstringed and has to stay there. What's the best philosophy?
So it really is actually, we recommend both. It really depends on your model and how well can you fulfill. So for example, if you're a subscribe and save program, it's really tricky to build a prepayment for the whole year. So for example, like buy a bulk of your next year's supplements. First of all, yes, it would be great for the business model to get all of that cash up front. And reduce that churn. However, the hurdle rate for that, like, because now you have to sell somebody 12 orders, and that average order value is like it's not a $10 purchase or a $20 purchase. Now it's $100 or $200 or $300 purchase. So that conversion is tricky to handle, and that only generally works with repeat loyal customers. So you could say, hey, prepay for the whole year if you've bought with us for the last 3 months. You want to save, or maybe not even a saving. Maybe it's like, hey, prepay for the whole year and get a free gift. I like that instead of a discount, because a free gift is much better for your margins. So if you're so for example, if you sell subscribe and save at one-time purchases, promote subscribe and save as a Black Friday thing. If you sell subscriptions exclusively, promote a prepaid package. So if you, instead of going monthly, promote a 3-month or a 6-month or a 12-month prepayment with a free gift. Same thing with subscription gifting. Send a 3, 6, 12-month plan as a gift. So all of those are really, really key for sales.
That's great. I think we've touched on so many great points today. I mean, like, subscription income seems on the surface like it's easy. Just put it up there and people subscribe, but it's really not. There's obviously nuances to it. There's a way to market it. There's a way to interact with a customer that makes a difference. And obviously, you know, as you guys go through this, you guys continue to make them even leaner, and you're in a position to where as it grows, the customers are only going to make much more money. So good subscription is obviously in a great position to help them. I know we've hit on a lot of things. Are there other things that you'd like the listeners to know about Good Subscription Agency?
One thing. So about us, it's like, the Black Friday, Cyber Monday is generally the busiest time of the year. We're pretty much like, if people are looking for agency work, I'd say reach out sooner than later. Because first of all, if your site needs big overhauls, don't leave it to last week. Don't leave it to the week of. Reach out to us sooner. However, we are always offering a couple of free things. First of all, we do free teardowns, which is a 15-minute video that I always do as a teardown of your existing website. I'll just simply record a user session. You'll get it for free, and you'll just get my opinion on how you can improve in actionable ways your current subscription sign-up flow. We also offer audits, start to finish, of your Shopify and your setup, your subscription app setup, and your Klaviyo setup. And all of those are for potential customers who are interested in working together and a good brand fit. And also our app is another one that you can pretty much. I mean, the setup takes 15 minutes. So yes, you could set it up the night of Black Friday, Cyber, the Friday or Thursday night, but I would highly recommend doing that sooner. But generally speaking, never hesitate to reach out to us. And find.
I think that's a great suggestion. And even if people are not ready yet to that level of revenue, it's good to plan. At least you're trying to think about your customer experience. It will set them up for that. So, Andriy, be sure to tell everyone how they can get in touch with you.
Best way to find me is on LinkedIn. Andriy Rudnyk, Good Subscription Agency. Just look up Good Subscription Agency, you'll find me there. And that's primarily where I live. Also, just check out our website, goodsubscription.agency. The free teardowns for the websites are on there. So that's, again, a 15-minute user session. You'll find it on our website. And generally, I'm able to turn those around in a week or so. And that's just a little bit of, free advice. And take it for what it is.
Right. And for all our listeners, we'll have the information of his LinkedIn and his email here on the page for the subscription. I got it all in my mind for the podcast. Yeah. So Andriy, it's been amazing having you in today. I appreciate all the time. It's been a great conversation. I appreciate you joining us on the Quiet Light podcast today.
Thanks for having me on, Pat. It was a real pleasure.